Today we're going to work on portraiture, or drawing the face. And what we're going to use today is the skull to help us figure out where everything goes. The beautiful thing about all human faces is that they sit on top of one of these. So even though everybody's face is very unique, we can count on certain measurements that help us place all the features on the face. So one thing you may not know is that the eyes are actually halfway down the face. Often this part is a part we ignore because there's hair on top of it, so we don't consider it part of the face. So we want to really consider this measurement as the same as this measurement. Can you see? Today you do not need a skull, but you may want to have something like a little mirror or a model. First, we're going to start by creating the shape for the head, and it's going to be like an egg. So the rounded part of the egg is going to be the top of the skull, and then the bottom is going to be where the jaw is. These lines are all subject to change, so notice that I'm kind of being sketchy with them. Now I'm going to divide the face in half vertically and horizontally. So I could use my ruler here, and I'll just go swoop. It's a little wobbly, but it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to measure about halfway. Nothing here has to be perfect. Now, the really cool thing about starting the face, the eyes are actually an eye width apart. So if I draw a little imaginary eye in the center, then that means I can draw an eye on either side and they'll be in the correct place. So I'm going to go right to the edge of this eye and create an almond or oval or football shape. It really doesn't have to have all the shapes perfected yet. We're going to just do the placement of features, so don't worry if it looks exactly like the face you're drawing. Next, this space here we're going to divide into thirds. So I'm going to draw a little line here and a little line here. So there are about 3 equal parts here. It's really tricky to draw the nose because it sticks straight out at you. And it's very sculptural and three-dimensional. So we want to think about 3 distinct shapes: the tip of the nose and the nostrils on either side. When you go back and draw the details that you see, you can change the shape to be more angular, wider, more pointy, whatever it is in the nose that you're drawing. But for right now, these are the symbols we're going to have for the basic structure. Next, we're going to look at the line where the lips meet in the middle, not the top of the edge of the lip or the bottom edge of the lip, but the line where the 2 lips meet in the center of the mouth. To determine how wide the mouth is, you're going to draw some lines straight down from the center of each eye, like it's crying. Oh, no. Now I have my placement of my mouth as well as the width. So I'm going to have a line that kind of comes up. Next, there's going to be a curve for the bottom lip, and then a little teardrop shape here. This is called the PHILTHRUM. It's a little different shape for everybody, but it's this notch between your nose and your top lip, and that determines the shape of the top of your lip. So you'll have to look carefully at that PHILTHRUM area. Next, we're going to put on some eyebrows, and they're going to move around depending on your expression. If they're very surprised, it might be up higher. If you're feeling a little concerned, they might go up a little bit in the center. If you're feeling angry, they might move closer and angle a bit outwards. But for today, we're going to keep it really simple and have a calm expression. Next, we're going to measure out from the eyebrows and the nose, and that's going to give us the distance of the ears. There's a lot of lines here, but remember, it's okay. We can always erase anything we don't want later. And we're going to draw a little curve from the ear and the eyebrow line to where the nose is. I'll give it a second here. Next, we want to create a neck. So we're going to take from where the eye line goes to the edge of the mouth and kind of find midway between the ear and that line. So I'm going to take my line and swing it out The neck is actually a very curved line. It's not a straight cylinder. Swoop, like that. Now, we have some room here for hair. Remember that the hair comes down below this line for the skull, but also above it, unless you're bald or unless you have hair that is just gelled right on top of your head. So often, if you have bangs, you might see hair that comes down in front. If you have hair that's parted in the middle, you may see something like this. If you have hair that is sticking up, maybe very short, you'll have to pay really close attention to the hairline and how it connects. Often there's a little hair that comes in front of the ear, and then it's also going to create some shapes outside the edge of the head. And the eyes. We have lots we can play around with the eyes. The shape of the eyelid folds that we see. We can talk about also the iris, the colored part of the eye, and the pupil, the black part of the eye that works like a camera to let in light. Now when we go to the nose, I like to think really carefully, what's the shape of the nostrils that I can see? And then a lot of what we do when drawing the nose is drawing only the changes in the direction. So maybe I'll draw just very little and I'll leave a lot to the imagination and use these circles as my guide. And I'll draw a little bit of the bridge of the nose. Those tend to kind of swoop up and connect almost with the eyebrows. And you can look at the eyebrows and their shape as well. You really want to pay attention to things like freckles, lines in the face, but do them softly because that can be very harsh if you create a wrinkle that looks like that. Don't worry too much about making a mistake and practice a lot. The more you practice, the more these measurements are going to make sense and the more you're going to be able to draw a likeness. So take your time and remember, everybody's got one of these underneath, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.